GALP.
Hey guys, and welcome to Get Live Podcast. It's your boy Bish Loves Mish. I haven't used that name for a while, but it's me, Bish. Today we're going to be talking about a new Koei game. Once again, I know you guys love Koei. I know we love them as well. I wanted to talk a little bit about Fate Samurai Remnant. A little bit. But before we get into that, I just want to do our disclaimer for you new folks. Get a Live Podcast, aka GALP, which is now it's known, is a monthly gaming discussion podcast under the GALP network. We talk about all sorts of games, from big AAA titles all the way to awesome indie games, but our forte is Japanese games, so expect that a lot. Like today, we're going to be talking about Fate Samurai Remnant. We can be found on anywhere that you can get podcasts, whether that's Apple Podcasts, Amazon Music, Spotify, Anchor, anywhere, even Stitcher. Remember, if you want to join in on the fun, follow us on Twitter, on Threads. Yes, we're on Threads now. Instagram, TikTok, all of it at Gal Podcasts. So our handles have changed. It's now at Gal Podcasts. Big thanks to our sponsors, Sugoi Mart and the lovely people at Crunchyroll. In addition to that, join our Discord, getlivepodcast.com/Discord, where you can join in on the fun. We have all the anime stuff. We have anime discussions, gaming discussions. We have a gaming news thing as well that Will sorts out. So thanks to Will for that. Absolute legend. Let's get back onto it. So I first knew about Fate Samurai Remnant way in advance. I can't remember. I think in like February they did like a small teaser trailer for it, and I flipped out because at this point Marvelous was taking care of the Fate series with Fate Extella Link, and I can't remember what was the other one. I know it was Fate Extella Umbral Star, I think. So, which I bought both of the games just to test out before. I was playing Link before I played Umbral Star. Umbral Star is the first one. And to be fair with you, in terms of gameplay, they both kind of follow this Musou style gameplay. It's basically a Musou game. And what is Samurai Remnant? It kind of leads me to believe that it is more, I don't know how to explain it. It's very sort of action RPG-esque. And you might be thinking, what does that mean? Doesn't that mean Musou? It's not a Musou game. And I think Koei, if they wanted to make it a Musou game, considering that they own the word Musou and they wanted to do a new Fate Extella, then they could have just called it Fate Musou. They could have done that, they didn't. So it's very clear that this game isn't a Musou. It plays a lot like a Musou, and if I was to kind of compare it to what game, I would compare it to Senran. In the sense that a lot of people kind of consider Senran a Musou game, when in reality it isn't. But I'm saying it's not a Musou game because you're not fighting 1 versus 1,000, right? There's limited enemies on the map, and you're almost sort of confined in that area as you're fighting. There's like an invisible sort of barrier almost. So it is a hack and slash. I would kind of compare it more to like a Senran in terms of gameplay, or if more people are comfortable with saying it, like a Bayonetta or like a Ninja Gaiden, right? It's that type of game. It is very interesting because this is produced by Omega Force, so they are the main developer. Type Moon is obviously involved in it. They're involved in like every Fate sort of game. Aniplex as well. That's why this game is not coming on Xbox, from what I know, because Aniplex is owned by Sony. So I think it's probably a big deal for them to kind of release this game. So yeah, it's going to be releasing on the PS5, PS4, Nintendo Switch, and Steam. Koei does like to support the Nintendo Switch. If I was to get this game, most likely it would either be PS5 or PS4 or PC for the best experience. I'm not necessarily too hyped for a Nintendo Switch copy, only because frame rate issues and things like that. So if you want the best experience, most likely you're either going to be playing on Steam or on the PlayStation console. So just if you can get it on the PS5, go for it. Action RPG is what they officially call it. It's going to be releasing on the 29th of September 2023, and it's got a PEGI rating of PEGI 16, which means that there is probably some level of violence. I'd imagine some sort of sexual references as well. You don't get a PEGI 16 on an action RPG unless you got that kind of stuff in there. And very interestingly enough, there is a treasure box edition of the game and a physical edition as well. A lot of people were speculating when it was initially announced that this was going to get a digital only release because it's the Fate series, but you got it pretty much everywhere. You can get it from Amazon, you can get it from Amazon as well, and Amazon and Game in Spain. So additionally, if you are a big fan of the Fate series, you can get the treasure box which is available on the Koei Tecmo Europe store. And the prices, let's check. They've got a treasure box for all of them except for the PC version. In the treasure box, you get a standard game and DLC codes, as well as original soundtrack, command spell stickers, okay, a B2 size cloth poster, which looks pretty badass, as well as a official short story translation booklet, and it says here Fate Samurai Remnant material. I don't know what that means, but it's saying it's a new short story from the Fate scenario team, so that's pretty cool. Looking at it, the game looks really nice. The pricing is $83.33, including VAT. That would work out to be £100. So really, really cool. You can also choose your game pack language, which I didn't. Well, okay, no, on the website, that's basically your. Okay, that's interesting. You could choose your game pack language. I don't know what that means exactly. I think it's probably your region, because you can pick Australian on here. And the last time I checked, Australian is not a language. Official languages that are supported, from what I can see here: Japanese, English, and traditional Chinese. I'm presuming that there is a big Fate community in China and surrounding regions. It is marked as GameCity.tw, so I'm presuming there is a big community in Taiwan, hence why it's got a Chinese translation, which is pretty cool. I'm glad that they support multiple languages, you know, and I didn't know that it was quite big as well. If you pre-order, you get the Miyamoto Musashi Phantasmal dress. Miyamoto Musashi is a character in the game, as you know. It says here, DLC costume may be available for purchase or free separately at a later date. So I'm presuming they're just going to have it as a free bonus, probably. Digital Deluxe Edition will also include digital art book and soundtrack, sword mountings, as well as DLC passes. So there's going to be a list of 3 DLCs actually for the Season Pass. Miyamoto Iori can obtain a special weapon in-game. Season Pass is at a discount. New servants, new skills, new stages, new enemies, and new mounting. So that's what you're going to get in the Season Pass. There'll be 3 sets of DLC, which is interesting, the fact that they've got the 3 sets of DLC. More information coming up soon. It's going to be additional episodes and weapons and stuff, which is kind of, you know, normal for a Koei game. So yeah. It's supervised by Type Moon, as you can imagine. Like I mentioned before, Marvelous was dealing with the Fate series in the past, and at least in terms of this sort of action RPG Muso style gameplay, they were dealing with it, and it was a fantastic game series. I kind of felt that Fate Extender Umbral Star played very, very fast in comparison to Link. Link was a lot slower, and I feel like it was a bit more refined, but it felt a little bit clunkier. Umbral Star was really, really fast-paced, and that's what I really loved about the series. And, you know, the story isn't as compelling, the artwork isn't as good, you know, the art style and the graphics isn't that good on Umbral Star compared to Link. So there was a vast improvement on Link, but I prefer the speed at which Link goes as gameplay. And a lot of the time, I'm not really necessarily into the Fate series as such. I haven't really found the time to get into it. There's a lot of anime, there's a lot of visual novels to catch up on. So I'm not really classing myself as a Fate fan, but I think those Muso games, I say Muso, but they're not really Muso. Those hack and slash games kind of got me into the series a little bit. And I'm really excited for Fate Samurai Remnant because it's kind of set within the Sengoku era, which is really nice. A lot less enemies on the screen, which I'd imagine would mean that they're more difficult. So expect that kind of Ninja Gaiden / Bayonetta style gameplay. It's not going to be 1 versus 1,000 and you feeling like a badass. You'll probably lose battles every once in a while. Artwork and the game design is fantastic. If you're looking at the landscape, and I'm talking about Fate Samurai Remnant here, whether you're looking at the landscapes or if you're looking at the character models, or the fact that this is an anime game that actually looks like an anime, you know, don't think we're going to see visual novel cutscenes. I think we're going to see fully CG cutscenes, which is really cool. So you have the whole master and servant situation, which it makes sense. So for example, Iori's weapons are swords, and you fight between 5 different stances, and each of these stances have their own characteristics depending on situation. So for example, your earth stance is excellent for defense, water stance is best suited for fighting multiple enemies at once, and you can use magic as well, which is pretty cool. And then your servant, in this case, which would be Saber, which pretty much all of them have your Saber servants and stuff, can shoot water from their sword. Even the strongest of enemies can stand no chance with Saber's brilliant swordplay. What's very interesting is that in the past, you couldn't necessarily play as the master, And I'm talking about when we're talking about the other Fate games, whether it's Extella or whether Extella, Umbral Star, or Link, you can play as your master as such. You were pretty much limited to playing as servants, which made sense. Like, there was really no need to play as the master. But in this one, you can play as the master and the servant. And it kind of looks, looking at the gameplay, it looks like they're there like hand in hand, kind of like a support system or a weapon switch system, similar to like Orochi or Samurai Warriors, where you can switch between the two. I'd imagine it is going to play more like Orochi rather than the Samurai Warriors in terms of the switch. If you can switch, we don't know as much in terms of the gameplay, but I'm assuming that there is a switch or an assist function. Now, if that is the case, if it plays like an assist function, it might play similarly to Warriors All-Stars, where you have them for a selected time on the screen fighting with you, or that they come in for a special attack and then that's pretty much it. Or you can switch them like Orochi. I don't think you're going to be able to switch them like Samurai Warriors, because if it is the master and servant, then most likely they'll be together and they won't be in separate places like they would be in Samurai Warriors. But we don't know that. We don't know that until we actually get to play the game. It says here, control the master and servant during battles and use their bond with each other to survive. Yeah, it looks like they're going to be together in the battle. There is an exploration page. I'm looking at the website right now. You can explore in this game. Not much information, but I'll look at the press release as well. We actually haven't gotten much information in terms of press release. Bear in mind, the game was like initially revealed just randomly, just one day, just randomly revealed in September, literally, which we didn't really necessarily know about. And yeah, the press release is here. Like, Fate Samurai Remnant players control Miyamoto Iori, a master who studied the Niten Ichiru style of swordsmanship. He fights alongside Saber, a servant who possesses the strength beyond that of humans, with facing enemies beyond human control, kind of like zombies and stuff. Players will be able to instruct their servant to attack with magical techniques, or even take direct control of the servant. So, as I said, probably, yeah, you'll be able to do direct control. I think it will be timed, considering that the way they describe the servant is probably going to be more powerful than the master. So I have a feeling you will probably get like a timed use of the servant. I think as you level up, there'll probably be like a skill tree. That's how I'm imagining things. Throughout the game, players get a chance to explore the town of Edo. Edo, as you guys know, was basically Tokyo during Ieyasu's time, Ieyasu Tokugawa, where row houses, samurai residence, brothels stand side by side. Here, many people frequent the streets and drawn to the distinct touch of Japanese culture, which is brought to life following the story of a waxing moon ritual. Players will be able to interact with various characters and animals in the town. We see that in the trailer, people like petting Shiba Inus and things like that, exploring a variety of areas and take on a wide array of challenges as they fight for survival in the latest Holy Grail. They say the latest, but I don't know the real sort of timing in terms of the Fate series. Is this genuinely the latest in the Fate series, or because of the timing is the set before? I don't know. So if you guys are Fate fans and you want to let me know, join our Discord or tweet me, send me a thread and let me know, is this actually the most recent Holy Grail War? I don't know. I haven't necessarily gotten into the Fate series, so I don't really know. Anyway, what we're going to do is that we are going to go on a break, and when we return, we're going to talk a little bit more about the series. This break is going to have both of the ads on here. We're trying to get this as a 30-minute episode because we don't have much information on the Fate series, but we'll be back. Now it's a better time than ever to be an anime fan with Crunchyroll, that has the world's largest anime collection. You can watch new episodes 1 hour after they air in Japan, enjoy access to unlimited ad-free anime, read hundreds of chapters across dozens of manga titles, and save with exclusive Crunchyroll store discounts. So if you guys go to crunchyroll.com/kunai, that's crunchyroll.com/kunai, for your 14-day free trial of Crunchyroll Premium service. Remember, you guys, we love Crunchyroll. We use them on Kunai. I personally love them. I personally use them all the time. We've been going to Crunchyroll events for a long time sponsor of the podcast. And you know what? They are the best place to watch anime legally online, with over 30,000 episodes. And at the moment, if you're listening to this, they've got the largest fall lineup in history for fall 2022 with over 40 simulcasting titles. That is insane. So join Crunchyroll with our link, crunchyroll.com/kunai for 14-day free trial. In addition to that, you've got different perks with your premium service. You can either go with your Mega Fan, you can go with Fan service, or your Mega Fan for 12 months. Personally, the biggest savings that you're going to make is if you do your Mega Fan option. If you live in the UK, that's only £60 a year. That's VAT inclusive. That's cheaper than any streaming service at the moment, especially if you're into anime. You got all your anime pretty much in one place. That's no ads, unlimited access to the Crunchyroll library, new episodes 1 hour after they air in Japan for your simulcasts, access to your digital manga, streaming on 4 devices at the same time, as well as offline viewing. You would not believe how many times offline viewing has saved me. Beyond the tube, there's no Wi-Fi, there's no 5G. I'm like, I want to watch anime. Boom! I'm watching Overlord. I'm watching Dr. Stone. I'm watching Naruto. Watching DBZ. You've got it all on Crunchyroll. So that's crunchyroll.com/kunai. That's crunchyroll.com/KUNAI. Back onto the episode. Are you a fan of anime and Japanese pop culture? I know I am. So why don't you get your asses down to Sugoi-Mart? All right, that's sugoimart.com. Alternatively, you can use our link, getlifepodcast.com/Sugoi. That'll take you to our special link on Sugoi-Mart. That is getlifepodcast.com/SUGOI. And use our code GALP, that is GALP, for 15% off on everything on Sugoi-Mart. And you can use the code multiple times if you really love Sugoi-Mart and you're like, hell yeah, I'm gonna go and purchase the best things that Japan has to offer: food and drink, beauty items, collectibles, toys and games. You can actually buy Gunpla from Sugoi-Mart, as well as a lot of things for your home: kitchen appliances, bathroom, bedroom stuff. They've got these really lovely Spy Family campus notebooks. I'm a big fan of stationery, as you guys know, and they've got that there as well. There's some really cool stuff on here. You can also purchase experience sets, which is basically like kits to make matcha, to make onigiri, and they'll provide everything basically. Whatever you want, Sugoi-Mart has got it. They've got a lot of really cool stuff from Japan, and as you guys know, every sort of month or so they give us care package that we show off to you guys, which I think is pretty cool. So they've got really nice stuff included. They also sell Pokemon cards and a lot of genuinely hyped stuff. What we want to do is that we want to find out the weirdest things on the Sugoi-Mart website and get Sugoi-Mart to send them to us. So Sugoi-Mart, if you're listening, let's prepare that. Let's just get the weirdest stuff and send it my way. And we'll talk about it on a episode of Umai. They've got some really, really nice stuff. If you want to get items from Japan quite easily, some really nice quirky items, then you can go to sugoimart.com, use the code GALP for 15% off on your purchase. They've got some really nice stuff, whether you're an anime fan, whether you're a fan of Japanese culture, or even if you're a fan of Disney. They've got a lot of Disney items on there. So experience Japan from the comfort of your own home with Sugoi-Mart. Use the code GALP for 15% off. Thank you, Sugoi-Mart, for sponsoring this episode of the podcast. And back on to the episode. Okay, we are back and we're talking about Fate Samurai Remnant. I was very, very excited when I found out that Koei Tecmo was dealing with Fate, only because I was a little bit worried that we weren't going to get another Fate game from Marvelous, because Marvelous have sort of changed their approach to gaming and they kind of focus more on like indie titles and the less sort of anime games, if that makes sense. So they don't necessarily focus on anime titles anymore as such, and they kind of go for like more family friendly games. So I'm glad that Koei took it on, and I'm very interested because this is one of Koei's fortes. They like taking on anime releases, and this is a brand new IP for them. The Fate, well, it's not their own IP, but the fact that they're publishing and developing, you know, in collaboration with Sony, effectively, because it's Aniplex. The fact that they're dealing with that, such a big IP, means that Koei is going to be dealing with a lot of bigger IP in the future. Other Aniplex titles, for example. You know, Koei has done stuff with a lot of anime things in the past, right? If we're talking about Attack on Titan or things like that. Now, there is a lot of speculation on what Koei could necessarily do with Aniplex licensing. if we're talking about Demon Slayer, they could have done something with Demon Slayer, and I still have a feeling that I think the next sort of action RPG that we see from Koei will be another Aniplex license. It could be a Kodansha one as well, in terms of Attack on Titan and stuff. But what I think will happen is we'll probably see a Demon Slayer game that's not a fighting game, because obviously Sega kind of dealt with that whole fighting game side of things. I think genuinely we're gonna see a new Demon Slayer Muso, whether it's a Muso game or whether it's a game similar to this, in terms of a JRPG slash action RPG. There's a lot of sort of speculation on what Koei could do next, and we're kind of going through that. In the past, I used to say that Koei could do stuff with Kodansha. They had opportunity to, I'd imagine, an opportunity to make a Sailor Moon Gust game, which we'll probably be able to see that. I would love that. In a similar vein to Fairy Tail, I would be really excited for that, and I think a lot of people would as well. I did also mention that time I got reincarnated as a slime. That would make a perfect Muso game as well. That would be another Kodansha one. Attack on Titan, I'm pretty sure that if Koei wanted to make a new Attack on Titan game, they would have done one already. A lot of people tend to say that. I genuinely think that the second game and its sort of DLC kind of covered season 3. I think Koei is probably waiting for Attack on Titan to end before they can do another sort of game. Or maybe they lost the license, so we don't know that, and I'm not too sure. But if they lost the license, I think at this point they would probably take it off the PlayStation Store. I'm not too sure, but there's a lot of other stuff they could do. They could do Full Metal Alchemist as a JRPG, which is Aniplex. I'm just looking at it. They've already got Fate in terms of the Aniplex series, so they're okay on that end. They could do Orimo. No, I'm joking. A lot of the stuff from Aniplex is like romance and like comedies and stuff. Sword Art Online, we already know that's with Bandai Namco, and I don't think Bandai Namco is going to necessarily give that up for Koei to do something, but there could be a collaboration. Bandai Namco have done that in the past with Gundam Muso. I don't think we're going to get a new Gundam Muso, but it would be really nice if we did. We could get a Sword Art Online Muso, I think. That's sort of set in the initial season of Sword Art. I think that would be really cool. I'm trying to think what else they could do. There's not much really in terms of something that Koei could do, because it's a lot of like romance stuff. Fate, Stay Night, they've already done the Fate series, and I think Koei is going to probably continue with that. If this game does well, which I think it will, I think we're going to see more Koei Fate games, genuinely. But yeah, in all fairness, I don't think there's much in terms of what they can do with Aniplex, other than Demon Slayer, which I think a Demon Slayer game would be fantastic. Yeah, in terms of like the major Kodansha series, I also saw a Demon Slayer, not a Demon Slayer game, a Chainsaw Man game online. That was like a fan game, and it looked really, really good as like a hack and slash. I could see Koei taking that on board as an official license. The same guy also made a fan Attack on Titan game, which I'm surprised Koei didn't send them a cease and desist, but obviously they weren't really selling the game as such. So yeah, I think a Chainsaw Man game would be really good from Koei. Although bear in mind, like these anime titles could be really, really popular, but they don't necessarily sell well or something. The reason why I'm saying that is because, well, I don't think they would, if that makes sense, because the hype kind of dies down. Like, especially if it's not getting a second season, and we don't know necessarily if it is. But I'm looking at the Kodansha stuff right now. Fairy Tail they've already done, which is Kodansha, which is kind of leads me to believe that they have a good relationship with Kodansha. It would be interesting. Some people would kind of think that Koei could do a horror game based off one of the Kodansha series. There is a lot of other things as well that I could probably imagine. Shaman King. I don't think a Shaman King Muso or RPG would work, in all fairness. I'm just looking through the Kodansha listings in terms of like what games do they, what anime and manga do they have. Aslan they've already done. That time I've got reincarnated as a slime. I think is the next one for Koei. If they do a new, like a slime game, which I think Bandai is already doing in terms of the mobile game. But I genuinely think, Koei could definitely take it on. A lot of people as well could think Vinland would be a good one, which Koei could do as a Muso. A Vinland Muso would be really fun. I'm trying to think like what else would work for Koei, and yeah, I really don't know. Like, I genuinely don't know. Your Boy Kong Ming. How come Koei didn't do a collaboration for Your Boy Kong Ming? They should have done like a Dynasty Warriors collab with Your Boy Kong Ming. I think that would have been cool. Sailor Moon, Card Capture Sakura and Sailor Moon could be definitely like great JRPGs from Gust in a similar vein to Fairy Tail. Eden Zero as well, they could do that. But I think they'll probably have to get Netflix on board. I don't really know. Another game that I think would be a really good JRPG from Gust, either if it's Gust or if it's Bandai Namco, Uncle from Another World, or Oji-san Isekai, that would be really good. I think that would genuinely be really good because it's such a meme of the show, but I think genuinely it could work. Let me know what you guys think in terms of what sort of series and stuff that Koei should remake into a game, whether it is something like a new Attack on Titan, or some people are saying Blue Lock as well. I can't see Koei making a Blue Lock game. I could see Bandai doing it because they did the one for, I say Captain Majid because that's how you say it in Arabic, because they renamed him. Captain Tsubasa is the name in English and in Japanese. I think that could work as, you know, as a Bandai game because they're really good. They've already made a football game in the past, so I think they could make a Blue Lock game. Would I really like that? I don't know. Let me know what you guys think in terms of Muso games and like other games that you guys want to see, other games that you want to see that are like anime adaptations. I don't know as well if Fate Samurai Remnant is going to get an anime adaptation. Knowing Koei, it will, but probably after the fact, because a lot of the games that they make end up getting anime adaptations. Ryza has got an anime adaptation as well, so if you don't want to play through Ryza, you can actually watch the anime right now, and it is on Crunchyroll. It is fantastic as well. It's got a lot of plot, if you know, you know. But yeah, no, seriously, this game looks really cool. Fate Samurai Remnant. It uses some really high class voice actors in the game as well. As I mentioned, you have your standard servants, Archer, Lancer, Rider, Caster, Assassin, and Berserker. Each with their own sort of unique matching characters and people from the Sengoku era. We don't know who they are actually. Actually, no, that's wrong. So you got your Archer and your Master. Who's the Archer? It doesn't tell you who the Archer is as such. I guess you'll find that out when playing the game, who they are and what the characters are. For example, the only servant that I've got a name for is the Berserker, which is Musashi Miyamoto. I'm trying to think as well because there's not much information because they haven't revealed the names and information for the Assassin, for the Caster. The Rider doesn't have a name either. But if I was to check, I have a feeling that the Rider is armor. Looking at the armor, it reminds me of a character from Samurai Warriors. I'm trying to remember. The Lancer, I don't know who the Lancer would. Yeah, I don't know who the other servants are. Of course, Musashi Miyamoto is a DLC, so it wasn't necessarily a DLC servant. Musashi Miyamoto is a servant that has DLC, so I presume that's why they announced her as a character. So yeah. Other than that, let me know what you think on Fate Samurai Remnant. I'm excited for it. I'm excited to review it, and I'm excited that Koei are making new IP and are taking more anime games on board, especially considering that other developers aren't doing it as much. And bear in mind, Koei has the money to take on these IPs and they have the teams. And that's another thing. This is being done by Omega Force, and something that they didn't mention in the trailers, it's not in the trailers. Koei Busawa development team is working on this. And I don't know if this is because it's a historical game. And you could argue that they didn't work on Token Rambu and it was just Omega Force and Ruby Party. But the fact that Koei Busawa is working on it, I don't know if they're just advising, but the fact that they are working on it makes me think that there is some level of strategy in the game, which surprisingly, no one has mentioned and no one has tweeted about. I didn't even tweet about it because I don't really tweet as much anymore, but no one's really mentioned that Koei Busawa is working on this game. And by Koei Busawa, I mean the development team. I don't mean Mr. Arikawa. I think he's retired right now, but by the way, the fact that Koei Busawa is working on it makes me think that there is a level of strategy, because they don't work on any other games other than strategy. They've never worked on a JRPG. They've never worked on a action RPG before, or a hack and slash. They've never worked on that. So the fact that they are working on it means that there is some level of either they're there to sort of provide historical context because they make the Nobunaga's Ambition games and Kasen and stuff, or they're doing some sort of political aspect in the game or some sort of strategy mechanic. We don't know. But the fact that they're there, it's very exciting, and Koei really wouldn't put two development teams on something unless they're going to make it a big deal, and I'm glad that they are. And I'm glad that the products, if you're looking at on the website, you've got physical versions of the game, you've got digital bonus DLCs, treasure boxes as well. That's stuff we don't even get on Dynasty Warriors anymore or Samurai Warriors. Like, we don't get treasure boxes as such. So the fact that we're getting a treasure box is exciting. And the fact that we're getting physicals is very exciting as well. So Koei, thank you for doing it. Thank you for making the game. And I'm excited to play this game. And in the meantime, I'm going to get a bit more involved in the Fate series. I'm going to complete Extella Link and Umbral Star. And after that, what I'm going to do is I'm probably going to watch the Fate anime and then probably play the visual novels as well. I don't know, but if I have the time. But I really want to get involved in the Fate series. A lot of people say that it is pretty convoluted and it's going to take me time, but I think it's going to be a really cool series, and I think I'd really enjoy it, especially if this game is coming out, and I really want to kind of get involved a little bit more. Anyway, that being said, be sure to check out our sponsors, Crunchyroll and Sugoima, as well as supporting the show and supporting our Discord, yalifepodcast.com/Discord. It's a free Discord, but make sure you join it and sort of communicate with us. At the moment, it's pretty small because we haven't really been promoting it as such. We haven't necessarily made it public, but we really want you guys to join in and let us know your thoughts on Fate as a series, as a game, as well as Shinsango Kumuso and other Koei games and stuff that isn't Koei as well. And yeah, bye!